Well, those New York Knicks and their fans partying like it's 1999. Any chance this party ends in a New York parade next month? Welcome to the Kevin Mack Sports Hour here on News Talk 99.7 FM and AM 630, WPRO, and 790 The Score. Yeah, it's Knick bandwagon jumping season right now down in New York City, no question. And with not a big bandwagon jumper, but pretty good reason. But I turn on my TV to the morning shows today, all based in New York City, and oh yeah, that bandwagon getting full. Knicks headed to the finals for the first time since 1999, and they've won 11 playoff games in a row. And I'll say it. I think they're the best team the city has seen since Willis Reed, Clyde Frazier, Dave DeBusschere, Earl Monroe. I'll take this group over Patrick Ewing, John Starks, and the push and shove Knicks of the 1990s because you can't play that way anymore. You have to be able to actually make shots and run up and down. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers out and out stink. They're also delusional, and we'll tell you why in just a bit. It's like head-scratchingly delusional. But the Knicks, they're playing with the kind of confidence that can lift them to a spot higher than their talent dictates, I think. Now, the NBA Finals against either Oklahoma City or San Antonio, the Knicks will be underdogs. And oddly enough, and Rooch will tell you this, they won't be underdogs by as much as they should be because they're from New York. And you know where the money lives. Like big time. New York. But this confidence, this roll of rolls that they're on right now, I will say color the Knicks dangerous in whoever they play in the NBA Finals. I'll say this. If those teams don't guard them at the three-point line, and how much abuse did the Celtics take over taking too many threes? The Knicks are in the finals and sweeping to the finals because they shoot the you-know-what out of the three-point line. Everyone. Even Tyler Kolek comes in garbage time and bangs home threes last night. Great to see Tyler contribute to the Knicks last night. But Landry Shamet is like 21 of 24 in the playoffs from the three-point line. Who's Landry Shamet? He's a weapon. Off the bench. Yeah, the Villanova Knicks, 11 in a row now. Impressive. Really impressive. Offensively, really impressive. Can they guard the Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs? I have some real questions about that. But hey, we don't even know who they're playing yet. This is all about the Knicks. This is all about the bandwagon. 401-438-WPRO, 438-9776. NBA tonight and a little Red Sox because they have their issues. Let's get started with tonight's three big hits. All right, those Red Sox, they host the Braves tonight, the start of a three-game series. Ranger Suarez gets the start. Wilson Contreras, he's the American League Player of the Week. In 6 games, he hit .458 with 4 extra base hits, 8 RBI last week. Roman Anthony took 12 to 15 dry swings. I assume that's a swing, obviously without anyone pitching to him. Before batting practice today, he'll do the same thing Wednesday and work up the strength in his wrist. We'll see if that leads to him being activated anytime soon. NBA, big game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder and the Spurs in OKC. Series is tied. They're at 2 games apiece. Now, A.J. Mitchell is out of the game for the Thunder. He has a calf injury. Jalen Williams is a game-time decision. He has a troublesome hamstring. The NBA Coach of the Year award will be announced before tonight's game. Joe Mazzulla, a finalist, along with Detroit's J.B. Bickerstaff and the Spurs' Mitch Johnson. And FIFA formally announced the training sites for the World Cup teams. I think this has been in the works for a long time. We've known that Team Ghana will be based at Bryant University. Team France is at Bentley up in Massachusetts. Team Iran will be hosted in Tijuana, Mexico. Not in the U.S. like every other team for political reasons. They're going to play their games in Los Angeles and Seattle, but make their way in and out of Tijuana for their training sessions. Okay. Hey, I'm thrilled to see the Knicks where they are. I have a lot of New York friends. I would say 80% of them are bandwagon jumpers. No two ways about that. It's a big city. It's a big bandwagon. And we'll see. We're not here to preview the finals, but how good are the Knicks? Rooch, now you have been a anti-Knick guy for a while now. Are you coming around, or were the Cavaliers that embarrassingly bad?
No, it's both things. The Knicks are obviously playing great basketball, but they've played a group of historically bad teams on their way to the NBA Finals. So, you sort of got to take that into account. No, I don't think the Knicks are any better now than, my critiques of them throughout the years. I still don't want to go to battle with a 6-foot scoring point guard.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Karl Anthony Towns often plays like he's Bambi in the woods, with his legs all over the place, flopping around. I'd love to see him go up against Wemby, to be honest with you.
Great. Yeah.
The Knicks are an incredibly flawed team, and that is as true as the fact that the Knicks are playing some incredibly awesome basketball right now, or at least, to your point, they're making a lot of three-pointers.
Yeah.
And that's really all they're doing, to be completely honest with you, which is why I can sit here and say I'm still not, impressed with them as a whole, but it's undeniable what they're doing, and it goes into my whole – and what Joe Mazzulla will tell us, it's a miss or make league, right? And the Knicks are right now making at an historic rate. And when you combine that with the fact that they've basically been playing against you and I, that's made for a very impressive run. And, you can't write off anything now because they're an incredibly inferior team on both sides of the ball to whichever team.
To who?
Right, to whichever team they might play in the finals.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Massively inferior.
Mm-hmm.
But those teams are going to be dinged up coming off a probable 7-game series, which is another thing that the Knicks will have going for them. But they're just the last team standing in the Eastern Conference. The fact that they've done it so impressively, though, is a story unto itself and one that's been quite entertaining.
Yeah, how about, I can't believe I'm about to do this, how about the Knicks owner, James Dolan? If you remember, only last year, the Knicks were billed as underachievers. I think at that time, when they got knocked out of the playoffs early, we said, well, I shouldn't say early. They knocked out the Celtics and did not make the finals, and that cost Tom Thibodeau his job. And Dolan bought out Thibodeau's contract for $30 million. And at the time, you're like, what are you doing? You just made the Eastern Conference Finals. Thibodeau is a legitimate NBA veteran head coach, a very good defensive coach, and the Knicks don't play a whole lot of defense. And he replaces him with Mike Brown, who had success with the Cavaliers back when LeBron was playing for the Cavs. But, Mike Brown, well, he coached LeBron in his prime. You just kind of assumed that wasn't Mike Brown. Well, the combination of Brown and the Villanova guys, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, up and down the lineup, it's all worked out in New York for sure. Here's Hart with his Villanova pals. And hey, if someone could come up with another example like this where you win national championship, multiple championships, I'll just give you one national championship, and then you go on to the NBA and play with more than one of your teammates. I mean, I just can't imagine that it's happened many times in the history of basketball. Josh Hart winning the national championship in 2016, Brunson and Bridges winning it in 16 and 18. And then they end up on the same, on the same team in New York. Of course, DiVincenzo was on this team a couple of years as well. and he won in 2018. Anyways, enough about the Villanova guys, but they are the heart of the team, Rooch. And think about Josh Hart. He only had 6 points last night. He was the key in game 3. I do think this team is becoming more unselfish as I watch them, and maybe it's because they're just also hot from the three-point line. I mean, there's no reason to take a contested three if you're Mikal Bridges when you have Brunson there, when Towns starts hitting threes. He had 3 last night, and again, forget about the guys coming off the bench, Landry Shamet and Miles McBride. I mean, they're really not good players. And they are just on fire here for the last, going on a month from the three-point line.
Right, and that's really the difference. Again, it's a make-or-miss league, right? If Landry Shamet and Deuce McBride are missing three-pointers, then we're sitting here asking why the hell Landry Shamet and Deuce McBride are taking three-pointers.
We're saying play Tyler Kolek.
Exactly, yeah. Right. So, I mean, look, I'll even go Mike Brown. If anything, what Mike Brown has done is stopped coaching that team, right? Thibodeau was over-coaching it. All the players said the same thing. He's, the starters, he's grinding us too much. He's expecting too much of his starting players, whereas Mike Brown has just come in, opened up the lineup, more guys play, and when everybody's hitting their shots like they are now, it certainly looks like, a masterpiece. But, the Nova Knicks, that's part of what makes this team so much fun to watch and so special. Not only the fact that they went to the same school and had that success, but just the relationship guys like Bridges, Hart, and specifically Hart and Brunson seem to have. That's what you want to see. That's the extra stuff that makes a run like this all the more special.
And it helps that they're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And the Sixers.
And the Sixers before them. Didn't the Celtics lose to the Sixers?
By the way, I just like to remind everyone, and again, not to just perspective, not trying to derail the hype train. The Knicks were down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks.
True.
Okay, so
haven't lost since, but you're correct.
That's great that they haven't lost since, right? But they lost about 35 times before that, and they lost twice to the Atlanta Hawks. It just sort of goes to show what I'm talking about and what a lot of people are talking about. They haven't been missing. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really what the difference is. They haven't been missing. When when they miss every once in a while, they go down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks. So it's crazy that the run has lasted this long to make this team look as invincible as we know they're not.
Well, clearly the Cavaliers think it's a little crazy, too. After the Game 3 loss, Coach Kenny Atkinson, wasn't he the coach of the year in the NBA last year? Can they take that trophy back retroactively by chance? Here's Atkinson after the Game 3 loss. The expected score. Yeah. Oh, guess what? When you were shooting, X Cleveland in the regular season against, the worst teams in the NBA, that doesn't necessarily carry over to the playoffs. And again, the Knicks are not a strong defensive team. So this guy's clearly getting big time lost in the analytics and his stats. Where you can put those stats after getting swept.
Well, also, he's speaking like someone who absolutely has no idea how analytics even work. Like, he's speaking about those game scores. They're probabilities, right? Probabilities. Not this is going to happen, or not this should happen 8 out of 10 times. An 80% probability is much different than something should happen 8 out of 10 times. Those are not the same thing. And people like Kenny Atkinson, when they talk about analytics, you get a lot of Major League Baseball managers that make this mistake too. Well, it said it was supposed to happen 9 out of 10 times. No. that is not what a probability means. I know, it seems like you're parsing hairs here, but to talk out loud like that, it's actually okay to think like that.
Sure.
Right? But to speak out loud like that is yet another thing that gives away that you don't really know what you're talking about.
All right, so you get the coach upside down. How about James Harden, future Hall of Famer. After being swept yesterday, he had this to say. We are the better team, but we didn't show it. Yeah, you didn't show it for basically 8 halves. I mean, I don't think Cleveland outplayed the Knicks in any of the halves in this series. And
Well, the 22-point lead, that must have been
okay,
like a
okay,
half
that's true. They had a huge comeback. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
And again, with Harden, this is another thing. Just like with Atkinson, it's totally fine to think that because, again, I bet a bunch of numbers analytically speak to the fact that it wasn't the romp that it appeared to be on TV. However, the games happened, and we saw them.
And Rooch, you know what he's referring to? Because they had 2 Game 7 series leading into this, they were, quote, tired, and it was unfair that the Knicks were able to, of course, they earned it, rest up for this series. And then the NBA, which is a little odd, has basically been playing every other night for a while. And Atkinson talked about this after the game yesterday as well, and Harden was clearly on that kick as well. As we weren't able to show our best because of the scheduling. Come on, hey, that's your fault. Win the earlier series when you were supposed to, and you wouldn't have any gripe at all. And besides, you got your butt kicked. Period.
Yeah, the games weren't close
401-438 WPRO 438-9776. More NBA when we come back on the Kevin Mack Sports Hour. Well, at least he didn't go with the expected score line. Kenny Atkinson. Welcome back to the Kevin Mack Sports Hour here on WPRO and 790 The Score. That's, of course, Johnston, Joe Mazzulla. One of the finalists for the NBA Coach of the Year, which will be announced in about an hour. J.B. Bickerstaff of the Pistons is expected to win it, although I'd say a week to 10 days ago, there was a lot of noise that Mazzulla was going to win it.
Yeah.
And Rooch, I think you and I both agree that the voting for these things probably should take place after the finals. And the Spurs coach, Mitch Johnson, who's the third finalist, I think I'd vote for that guy. And, you know, I knew that they were supposed to be good this year, but not this good and not finals good. Although if you watch them play, yeah, they're pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, you still want to take the total picture. I'm not saying,
it's not just the playoffs. Yeah.
Right. Someone shouldn't be able to completely, get the Coach of the Year award with a surprising run through the postseason. But, yeah, I mean, first of all, Kenny Atkinson, after that clip we just played, they should just not give the award out any longer.
Right.
Because, I mean, I'm Coach of the Year. Just like Kenny Atkinson, who, just embarrassed himself and pretty
Were
much.
they expected to be, a finalist for Coach of the Year?
What was the expected Coach of the Year outcome there? But,
right.
yeah, I mean, Joe Mazzulla, as we discussed many times, certainly a worthy candidate. Mitch Johnson and J.B. Bickerstaff. But look, and again, I like Johnston Joe and I like J.B. Bickerstaff. Both of their teams were embarrassed in the playoffs, and that wouldn't be factored in at all to, the Coach of the Year voting. And again, not to say that it should be weighted that heavily, but if this is the final three, Mitch Johnson should get it in a cakewalk due to the fact that his team is the only one left standing. But, it'll be interesting to see. It was interesting that when we talked about it at the time, it looked as if news had leaked out that had said that J.B. Bickerstaff was not going to win and that Joe Mazzulla was going to win because he became the overwhelming favorite at one point at every single sports book just a couple weeks ago. But now Bickerstaff is back on top of the odds.
Yeah, over the weekend, ESPN leaked some kind of a release, and it included Bickerstaff winning. So, and that's kind of turned the tide to his.
Wait, they released it without the NBA announcing the.
Correct. It was fraudulent. It was released an error about the NBA awards.
Well, there you go.
After they did the. By the way, the All NBA came out. Jaylen Brown, second team. He was sixth in the voting. Cade Cunningham, a few, notches above him. I wouldn't say you could flip a coin. I would have voted Jaylen Brown over Cade Cunningham. You know why? Because I watched Jaylen Brown all season long. Now, Cade Cunningham and the Pistons did, win the East or were the top, seed in the regular season in the East. That didn't get them far. By the way, again, I can go a million ways here. So the Celtics lose 3 in a row to Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets knocked out easily in the next round. The Cavs beat the Pistons in 7 games. You're like, oh, okay. And the Cavs get embarrassed against the Knicks. Are the Knicks that much better than all of these teams? I don't really see that.
No,
but
they're not.
If you go by, transitive performance, that's the case.
That's right. If you go by transitive performance, the Knicks would have been 100-0 somehow in an 82-game season. So, right, that math gets you down the road of the Knicks sweeping the Celtics with Jason Tatum. And it's like, oh,
Right,
okay, right. I'd like to be offered a betting situation there where I could profit. So, again, it's just the Knicks are on an incredible heater right now. And it's making it so that none of the math makes sense, which is driving Kenny Atkinson bonkers.
All right, so Brian Windhorst, who, by the way, I think he's in on the Knicks. He's really in on the Knicks. I'll be curious how this sets up next week when the finals begin, which, by the way, the finals will start a week from tomorrow, not until next Wednesday. But tonight, a huge Game 5. The Spurs are at the Thunder. Here's Windy. Wendy makes a good point. They need either Jalen Williams. Well, Jalen Williams is the only one who has a chance to play tonight. He was largely, very ineffective in the previous game. Their bench just isn't that good without those two guys. They have to come in with Jared McCain, someone named Kenrich Williams. You know that guy, Rooch? He played 23 minutes the other night.
Yeah, he's been on their team for a little bit. But and Mitchell is really the story. He's better than Jalen Williams.
And he's been very good.
Yeah, he's been great. And, yeah, right. Look, we talk about the Knicks, and you just mentioned Wendy maybe being in on the Knicks. And this is the thing, right? They'll have a shot in my mind because of the situation of both of the rosters in San Antonio and Oklahoma City. Those two teams would suffocate New York defensively and be able to score at will at multiple positions if they were fully healthy. But again, that's what you got to do. The Cavs want to complain about scheduling. Things are rolling out in the favor of the Knicks right now, where both Oklahoma City and San Antonio, far superior teams, but by the time they make it to Madison Square Garden, they might not be in such great shape.
Yeah, the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox back for the last game and sure enough win by 20. So interesting, huge Game 5 tonight for sure out west. Okay, Red Sox, back at it tonight. We'll get to Boston and the Sox next on the KevinMc Sports Hour. Is that what it's come to the Red Sox? Getting swept at home by the Minnesota Twins. And yeah, they've had their moments over the years, but they largely stink.
Kirby Puckett must have been on that team.
Jeez, how did Rocco Baldelli not sweep the
He wasn't
Red
born
Sox?
In 1994.
No, as the manager. Come in as the manager, lead the Twins to an easy sweep up there at the Fens.
Yeah,
no.
That's no good.
First one since 1994. Wow. Red Sox, how about this? 8-17 at home. That's the worst home record in Major League Baseball. The only team with fewer than 10 home wins. Okay, why? Right? Why? That's a fair question. Well, first of all, the weather continues to be just horrendous. Now, the other team has to deal with the same weather. But did you see? Was it Saturday's game? Saturday's game. I wake up in the morning. It's a complete washout. And what am I thinking? It's Sunday. It's a complete washout. And the Red Sox and the Twins are ending a series. It's the Twins' only time in town. So I was expecting MLB to say, last time in, we're going to hold out and look for a window.
That's right.
I'm like, there's no window. I'm down there. And it's raining sideways. There's puddles everywhere. And then sure enough, I turn my TV around at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and the Red Sox and the Twins are in like the fourth inning. They started on time, and I don't think the game ever had a stoppage. And the conditions were horrendous. So this is what we've come to when we have to play every team once in the National League, multiple times in the American League. We're going to already the Red Sox have faced this a couple times where no one, the team isn't coming back to Fenway Park and they're going to plow through horrendous weather. It's amazing to me, Rooch, that no one got hurt the other day. I mean, there were guys sliding all over the place. No one got hurt. And you know how these baseball players are a little soft. I give them credit for finishing, and sure enough, the Red Sox actually hit the ball in that game. They had, 11, 12 hits, and still couldn't get it. Then they lose to the Twins 6-5. It's not a good situation right now.
No, it's a bad situation, and that weather, to your point, this sort of encapsulates, nutshellizes the badness of the situation. That rain worked to Minnesota's advantage in terms of Boston being unable to hold on to balls at home plate, allowing runs to score, whereas Boston thought, hey, you know what? We're going to test this guy's arm out in the outfield.
Because, with the speedy Connor Wong.
Because it's wet and it might be tough. Hell, we're having a tough time throwing it and holding on to it. We should test this guy. And now what's good for the goose was not good for the gander. And nothing went Boston's way. And nothing's really been going Boston's way, even with Chad Tracy taking over, which, by the way, pretty funny because of the randomness of all of this. We could both admit that Chad Tracy, one way or the other, isn't having an impact. In the same way that Alex Cora was or was not having an impact. Philadelphia, the Phillies, Alex Cora could have had that job. They're basically undefeated since they switched to Don Mattingly, who must be pressing all the right buttons over there. But, yeah, Tracy can't catch a break. He can't even get the randomness that he deserves in terms of taking over for a team that had been underachieving.
Well, it just shows how crazy careers are. I mean, Chad Tracy was very respected in the minor leagues. Actually he's going to get inducted into the Woo Sox Hall of Fame any day now, and he finally gets a taste of the big leagues. He inherits this awful team. I mean, what's the chance Chad Tracy is here a year from now? I mean, it's not his fault.
No.
The record could be, like, historically bad. I mean, they're trending that way right now.
No, certainly not his fault. I would think that worst comes to worst, he'd instantly get an equivalent minor league job.
Sure.
The one that he had. Because, like I said, I mean, just like is happening with Philadelphia and Don Mattingly, and that's why, we even talked about it at the time. It's like it was tough for Boston to play worse or even to continue at the level they were playing. So the fact that Tracy hasn't been gifted at least some run of good baseball here since he's taken over is certainly a bad break for him.
It's kind of like the expected score. It just hasn't happened
yet. That's right, not yet.
For Chad Tracy. Here's the manager. Rooch, now you're going to love this one. So there's a lot of people who cover the Red Sox. I don't want to mention any names. I like an awful lot of them. Some do an excellent job. Others, I don't really know very well. They're newer names on the beat. And I'm not saying they're pink hats, but boy, they will find a positive in, this team. And we both think that Craig Breslow is horrendous.
That's right.
He has not done a good job as the general manager of the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
And the spin was, well, if you look at this is the pink hat spin. If you look at the entire body of work with this team, he did trade for Wilson Contreras. Or was that a trade? Or was that a free agent?
No, he was a free agent.
He also Ranger
Gray.
Suarez.
Yeah.
Got Ranger Suarez. He was saying there were like 4. Okay, yeah. When you have 25 guys on the roster, I hope you don't go 0 for 25, okay? I hope with $200+ million, it should be pushing 300, but it's not. Thank you, John Henry. You should have some wins in the personnel department, but I'm sorry, wins and losses, these are not expected scores. These are actual games, and right now the Red Sox are 22-30, 8-17 at home, and unfortunately, they're still at home and play the Atlanta Braves tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to pay a comment to Craig Breslow, really the highest praise that you should pay him is the fact that, the guy is hamstrung by ownership to make the real right decisions. Okay. So he's just doing the best of what he can. Now, again, I would not be lavishing him with that praise because I think he's much more complicit than that praise would indicate. But, yeah, pointing to 4 or 5 guys, you know what happens with this new wave of they're analytical pink hats. They're not even Red Sox pink hats, K-Mac. They love the analytics like Kenny Atkinson, and they understand it about just as well. So what they do is they look at the moves that Chaim Bloom, same thing. They loved Chaim Bloom too, these people. Mm-hmm. They liked Bloom and Breslow because when they look at every move in a vacuum, which, as you just sort of pointed out, that's what they're doing, right? It's like if everything's viewed in a vacuum, and we never look inside the vacuums where you store all the crap,
then
wow, this is a pretty neat looking vacuums. But what's behind the curtain over there? Why won't you let me see those other vacuums? Oh, right, because those transactions, of which there are much more, did not work out nearly as well. So, yeah, they like to find the diamonds in the rough, these analytical pink hats, and we're too smart for that, K-Mac. We're not buying it, and I'm sick of it. Atkinson, these fools, they all give analytics a bad name. It's really very useful if you know how to use it.
Yeah, don't they have that analytics conference up there at MIT every year?
Yeah.
Maybe you should be the guest speaker instead of these guys.
Well, they don't let Bill James come anymore, so
right.
maybe that's where they lost the plot.
Bill James might believe in wins and losses a little too much to their liking.
That's right.
What it is.